This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. A lot developing across the state of Montana, including this. A famous Lincoln company is changing hands. We're going to take a look at the future of high country meats. It's coming up. Plus, we'll hear from a heroic grandfather who saved his granddaughter after she fell into the Prickly Pear Creek. But first, the national Democratic debate just wrapped up a few moments ago. One familiar candidate was missing from the debate stage, Montana Governor Steve Bullock. However, the governor got plenty of face time in Iowa as a town hall featuring only Bullock was broadcast live in Des Moines. Bullock answered questions on a number of issues and accused President Donald Trump of using immigration to divide the country. He also talked about steps to fight climate change and making college and housing more affordable. But he says he's not in favor of forgiving student loan debt, something other Democrats have proposed. Bullock also talked about Social Security.
So as president, I would not only honor our commitment when it becomes to Social Security, but we've got to figure out either from an additional revenue perspective or just the frugality in government to make sure that we can fund so that not only you can be assured that what you've paid into your lifetime you get, but so I can be assured of that for me as well.
Bullock said the most important thing on his agenda, getting rid of dark money in politics. Another Republican is joining the 2020 race for Montana's open U.S. House seat, bringing that total to 3. Helena farmer and rancher Joe Dueling kicked off his campaign, saying he's got a strong background in agriculture. He says he's somebody who won't abandon the seat. The last 2 Montana congressmen, Ryan Zinke and Greg Gianforte, decided to leave the seat within 2 years of winning it.
Definitely the underdog here, and I think, all my life people have told me that I was an underdog. When I came to Helena Valley, I was a hired hand, and now I have a farm. Everybody said, you can't buy a farm today's age. You can't buy a farm in the Helena Valley. And I've clawed and digged my way up every time. So being an underdog is great because you only got one place to go is up.
2 Democrats are also in the race for that lone House seat, Kathleen Williams of Bozeman, Tom Winter of Missoula. The first 2020 candidate for state auditor is officially in the race as Republican Troy Downing, a Big Sky businessman, announced his intention to run. Downing ran last year for the U.S. Senate, and he says he's a political outsider and a businessman who wants to shake up the status quo. The current auditor, Matt Rosendale, running for the U.S. House in 2020. Downing says he'd be a conservative watchdog for Montanans' tax dollars. Tonight, the USS Billings is undergoing repairs after a collision with another ship at a pier in Montreal. Witness video shows the ship with 2 tugboats striking a starboard side of a port-side cargo ship. It was stationed at the pier. Witnesses say it lost control after the lines were let go. The collision happened Friday, and the Navy is now conducting an investigation. Officials say there is minor damage. The ship will temporarily dock in Montreal. The ship was expected to reach Florida in July and be commissioned in Key West on August 3rd. Billings and Yellowstone County are strong, but both have challenges. That's the message coming from the chamber and their leaders. Billings Mayor Bill Cole says the city has money for big projects, but still faces financial challenges. And there's a growing issue with drug abuse and mental illness. And although there's no investors in the One Big Sky project, leaders say they're staying focused on the positives.
There's no doubt that we need the legislative tools out of Helena in order to make any downtown project like that successful, not just in Billings, but in other cities around Montana. So I'm hoping we'll take another swing at getting the 406 Impact District legislation passed. We came very, very close. It died on a tie vote. There's blue skies ahead for One Big Sky District.
The message of One Big Sky and the whole process is that Billings is a good place to do business. How that unfolds, whether it be at Metro Park or another plan, I think we have to come to the understanding that Billings is growing and needs to grow, and it has good ideas and we're welcoming businesses to come here.
And of course, city leaders also say as crime increases, they think that it's pretty important to look at expanding some treatment options and treatment programs within the Magic City. Out-of-state visitors were not shy about dumping money into Montana's economy. New numbers are out and they show tourists spent over $3.5 billion just last year. In Glacier Country, tourism spending was up 11%, a pleasant surprise considering the fire season. Northwest Montana took in 34% of non-resident spending. Yellowstone region that took in about 30%.
Glacier Country received a 11% increase in expenditures over 2017 last year, which is especially good considering we had a smoke and fire season last year. In Southwest Montana, the travel region, they had $463 million of non-resident expenditures. So certainly in Western Montana proper, there is a significant amount of economic boost.
And the travel and tourism industry is second only to agriculture in the state of Montana. High Country Meats in Leakin, it's being sold, but the new owners say they're keeping the jerky making facility around. For over 40 years, High Country has manufactured, packaged, and shipped its well-known jerky. The company takes part in a community development block grant designed to create and keep jobs. The new owner also owns a sushi restaurant in Bozeman.
He has a lot of experience in the industry. He's run some, similar types of ventures or been part of them in Bozeman. I think he's got a really solid marketing background, and I think he's very well adversed in promoting and growing networks and brands.
All right, no word though on when that sale is going to be completely complete. New information tonight surrounding a leaking irrigation canal along the Billings rims. As residents face foundation issues from the water, now there's questions about who maintains that ditch. Homes along Viewcrest Drive are dealing with some major water damage. The canal has been seeping water and folks are asking who is responsible for maintaining that canal, the city or the irrigation board. Well, according to the city, ditches are controlled through easements and private companies. In the case of the homes on Viewcrest, the Billings Bench Water Association owns that section and they're responsible for the maintenance. The Billings Bench Water Association did turn off the water on Friday. They began that maintenance on Monday. A call to action tonight for those parking at trailheads as thefts in several areas of our state seem to continue. In Helena, officials say cars at Mount Helena's trailhead are getting broken into pretty regularly. Hikers say their pleasant hike now being plagued with the fear of a theft at their car or them being a victim of theft.
It really bothers me that anyone would do that, and I did have a friend and her car was broken into and they smashed in the front windshield, so that's a big expense for a car owner.
Helena police say thefts at trailheads are usually crimes of opportunity, with the majority being unlocked vehicles. Well, a new parking garage, it's popping up at the Bozeman Yellowstone International Airport, and it's set to open pretty soon, but we're learning it's going to be mostly for rental cars that are going to be parking inside. Rental cars will start being moved into the garage by tomorrow. 90% of the garage is going to be for those rental companies. The other 10% will serve for paid parking.
As the airport grows, parking has to go further and further from the airport if we remain on the ground level. And so as we move forward, we'll see parking start to go up just because of the distances to and from the terminal. There's a logical distance or an acceptable distance that people will accept before they start saying that's way too far in the middle of winter.
And the entire project should be complete sometime in the early part of August. Well, a new book is examining the history of the Berkeley Pit in Butte. Author Brian Leach, originally from Missoula, spoke in Butte about his book. It's called The City That Ate Itself. He says unlike other mining cities, Butte will always have to live with the pit. He says his intrigue comes from the public's involvement in the cleanup.
It's good to have community members knowing what's happening, be really aware of the kinds of decisions that are being made, sometimes on their behalf. Uptown Butte is one of the best looking central business districts that most cities would kill themselves for. but you also have to live with this pit too at the same time. I think they're kind of part and parcel, right? They built each other.
And the book, The City That Ate Itself, is available at your local bookstore. Montana's rivers and streams can be quite dangerous, especially this time of year. And one Helena family knows that firsthand. A grandfather is being credited tonight with some quick thinking action, saving the life of his granddaughter. MTN's Evelyn Schultz has the story.
Paul Never Miss a Shot enjoys hiking along Prickly Pear Creek with his family. But 1 week ago, an evening outdoors quickly turned potentially deadly.
We didn't really expect the water to be moving swiftly and as fast as, it is right now.
The family was getting ready to go home. That's when he realized his 3-year-old granddaughter, Montana, had fallen in the creek.
She was more or less floating on her back, and, she was crying out, "Papa, Papa."
Paul is almost 62 years old and uses a cane to walk long distances, but he moved quickly to find his granddaughter.
I kept on, crying out, in my own words, God, Creator, you have to, intervene, do something for us. This is the point where I need you the most. I'm just like a turtle, I can't even, to move as fast as I did that evening.
He followed her cries and floated to where Montana had snagged on some logs.
I went under probably a couple of times in that current. The water current was pretty swift and pretty strong, and the water came up to my chest.
He grabbed her and waded in the rushing water.
I told her, we gotta hold on. You gotta hold on to Papa, hold on to me, and help is on the way.
First responders arrived quickly, formed the line, and brought them both to safety. Rescuers say Paul's quick reaction likely prevented Montana from drowning.
He just dove in the water and kind of followed her down until she got hooked up on a log jam, and he should be credited with saving her life as well.
Never Miss a Shot credits his faith and the instinct that comes with being a grandfather.
If it wasn't for the man upstairs, we probably would have had a different outcomes. Because of God was using me, we're still here today.
In Helena, Evelyn Schultz, MTN News.
Happy to report that both 3-year-old Montana and Grandpa are both doing well tonight. Still to come on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news, the Cascade County Sheriff's Office is adding a new team member to help sniff out electronics. We're going to show you that story, but first, hey Bob, how's the weather looking out there?
It's been a busy night of severe thunderstorms in southern Montana, but tomorrow we have an enhanced risk of severe storms up in the north. We'll talk about it after the break.